Did you make sexual advances towards Ms. Cooney without her consent? Yes.
No, I did not. And that story has been debunked.
But why did you apologize to her then?
I apologize for something else.
Let me just ask you.
All you have to read is the text which she published. It's not for that.
That is not how I've read it. Are there any other instances where you have made sexual advances towards an individual without their consent? Just yes or no?
No.
No. HHS has really broad and critical responsibilities to protect and preserve healthcare and social services, from women's health to childcare to biomedical research. That's just a few. In light of last night's tragedy, I do want to express my thoughts and prayers. But it is, I think, a painful reminder to all of us that we need competent people running our federal agencies to respond when a crisis strikes. Mr. Kennedy, let me start by talking about vaccines. I think we all agree that cancer is particularly nefarious chronic disease. And the American Cancer Society reported earlier this month that women under 50 are experiencing a dramatic increase in the incidence of that disease. Fortunately, there is clear data showing that the HPV vaccine has saved lives and cut cervical cancer rates dramatically. You have called the HPV vaccine, quote, dangerous and defective, and said it actually increases the risk of cervical cancer. Do you stand by those statements, yes or no?
The HPV vaccine, I brought litigation. I represented.
Yes or no?
I represented.
Stand by your statements.
Let me answer.
I'm trying to,
Senator.
yes or no. It's a simple yes or no.
I
Stand by your previous statement.
I litigated on that issue. I represented hundreds of young girls who felt that they were injured by the vaccine. That trial is happening right now in Los Angeles.
Well, let me
Those
ask you.
questions will be answered by a jury in that trial.
You said that no loving parents would allow their daughter to receive that vaccine. If confirmed as HHS Secretary, would you recommend that parents get their children vaccinated against HPV?
I recommend that children follow the CDC schedule. And I will support the CDC schedule when I get in there, if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed.
Would you recommend that parents get their children vaccinated against the measles? Yes or no?
Against measles? Yes.
Well, I just remind everybody that parents look to our health leaders for advice on these decisions. You would be a health leader, and for the record, I would like to put into the record his previous statements on these vaccines. I do want to ask you a question about character. I still believe character matters, and I want to let you respond to this. You were accused of sexual harassment and assault by Eliza Cooney, who was first hired as a part-time babysitter by your family. When you were confronted about this accusation, you said you were, quote, not a church boy, and that you, quote, have so many skeletons in my closet. You then texted Ms. Cooney an apology and indicated you had no memory of what she described. Mr. Kennedy, I'm asking you to respond to those accusations seriously in front of this committee. Did you make sexual advances towards Ms. Cooney without her consent? Yes.
No, I did not. And that story has been debunked.
But why did you apologize to her then?
I apologize for something else.
Well, that's not my understanding. Are there, let me just ask you.
All you have to read is the text which she published. It's not for that.
That is not how I've read it. Are there any other instances where you have made sexual advances towards an individual without their consent? Just yes or no?
No.
No. Mr. Kennedy, you said that you're going to say to NIH scientists, God bless you all, thank you for your public service. We're going to give infectious disease a break for 8 years.
Excuse me?
You said you just said thank you for your service to our federal employees. You want to give infectious disease a break. That's a quote. Will you support the development and distribution of vaccines for the avian flu? Yes or no?
Will I, for the avian flu? Yes.
My time's almost up, but having read a lot and listened to a lot, I just want to remind all my colleagues that by voting to confirm Mr. Kennedy, we would be telling our constituents he's worth listening to. That alone could get people killed before he even lifts a finger. because he does not even need the levers of power to influence people, as we saw in Samoa. All he needs is a megaphone. To affirm his views by voting to confirm him as our highest health official, we should not mince words about what that would mean. When babies die from whooping cough because parents weren't sure if the vaccine was safe, we will have to look them in the eye. When measles sweeps through school, then hospitals, nursing wards, will this be worth it? There are political realities, we all get that, but there's also right and wrong, fact and fiction. And there's also people staying healthy or dying pointlessly from diseases we can prevent because they thought Congress took its job vetting our healthcare secretary seriously.
Yes, I've been listening to the back and forth, the questions, and when people tried to pin you down on a point, you said, show me the data or bring me the studies. And I want to suggest that that data is out there and those studies are out there. And if you're going to review all the studies and the data, you're going to be doing that, if confirmed, for your first year of being secretary. When we talked, we were talking a bit about vaccines at the end of our meeting, and you said really to me that there's no post-approval safety monitoring. And that led me to believe that you're not aware of the significant and ongoing safety monitoring that occurs after years of rigorous studies showing vaccines to be safe and effective. And so I want to give you the opportunity to set the record straight here. Are you aware of the measures in place throughout Health and Human Services to ensure vaccine safety after approval? Yes or no?
I'm aware of the VAERS system, which CDC admits it captures fewer than 1% of vaccine injuries.
So you are aware of the CDC monitoring? Are you aware of the FDA post-approval monitoring?
I'm aware of only 2 systems.
Are you aware of the vaccine safety data link?
Oh, yeah, I'm very aware of that.
Are you aware of the vaccine adverse event reporting system?
I'm aware of the vaccine safety data link that CDC keeps under a lockbox and will not let independent scientists look at it.
Are you aware of the clinical immunization safety assessment project?
As I said,
are you aware of vSafe?
I'm aware that they're broken, and I can explain to you how each one of those is broken if you're interested. What I want to do is make sure we have gold standard science. We get the conflicts off the panels so that people, you know, this Congress.
What I listed right now are just some of the guardrails that are in place to ensure that life-saving vaccines are safe and effective. And this is after numerous clinical trials, rigorous studies, and review by an independent panel of experts that show vaccines are safe and effective, which is available to all the public. If you want to take a second look at the science, like you have said, well, it's here, it's available, and it's conclusive. And saying anything else is undermining vaccines. To a different
and by the way, repeating what Congress found in the 2003 investigation.
Kennedy, I want to move to what I hope it will be pretty simple stuff. In general, for a drug to be considered safe, would you say that 97, 98% of people taking that drug and having no complications is generally safe?
It would completely depend on what the drug is. If it's a drug given to a healthy population, that would not be unacceptable.
Again, this is as high a level as it gets. Would you say that when 99 out of 100 people experience minimal or no complications, that that drug is safe?
It depends what the risk is from the disease. It depends what the benefit from the drug is. If you're dying of cancer, you will take a drug with that kind of risk profile.
And if we were to
if you're a
talk
healthy
about
individual with zero,
peer-reviewed,
if you're a healthy individual with zero
I'm talking
risk,
about mifepristone, but if we were to talk about peer-reviewed, replicable studies of a medication, would you say that you needed 10 trusted studies to get the same conclusion?
it
15,
depends what the
20 trusted studies?
It depends what the
What's your number?
It completely depends on the kind of study. You're talking about randomized studies or observational studies.
Is it safe to assume that 100 studies that are replicable and peer-reviewed is enough?
Well, it could be one study if it was a powerful enough study.
The most widely used medication, abortion drug, mifepristone, has been FDA approved for nearly 25 years. More than 100 studies have confirmed that 99% of patients who took the abortion pill had no complications. So with all of that, I can only conclude that you would commit to keep this science-backed and proven medication on the market and accessible for women. Is that correct?
I'm going to, with mifepristone, President Trump has not chosen a policy, and I will implement his policy.
So regardless of the studies, regardless of the data, regardless of the science, you've been talking about, show me the data, show me the studies.
Well, if you
Would have that policy
Senator,
regardless of what the science says.
Senator, the devil is in the details. If you're telling me 99% of women did okay, but 1% died, I would say that is not a beneficial
That is
risk
not what
profile.
the studies show.
I know, but you're not showing me. I need those details from the study before I can't buy a pig in a poke. Show me what the study says.
So let's move on.